Alrighty. Should not be too much of an intro today. We're back for another session of Product Like It's Friday, even though it's Tuesday. And I'm just going to continue from where I left off. Just before I started this, I was kind of rushed. I was going to get myself something to eat. And then I realized that I had scheduled this for 6 p.m. EST, and I was not able to quite eat um, what I wanted to, but I started anyway, got a couple of bites of something. And then I have this banana here that I may or may not eat on stream, uh, depending on how hungry I feel. Also have a pop here, which I might open and drink. Okay, but let me share my screen and let's talk about what we will do next. Yesterday, Mary had done a session with a bunch of design changes, redesign really, and I had implemented not all, but some of those changes, at least when it came to some major game elements. I did not um, look too deeply at, changing the fonts or getting all the spacing correct or precise, because I just wanted to get some major elements in place so it starts feeling like the design without being complete. And then now I'm thinking, hey, let me go back in and make some more changes, maybe get the logo in, um, modify the spacing a little bit, and just bring in more elements that Mary had put in the design. So let's go back and take a look. So I see already Mary in the background has been making more and more changes. Um, and I'm not sure whether some of these changes come as a result of watching my stream and taking some of my feedback. We'll see. Um, and we did text back and forth earlier about certain elements on, well, just one element on this design, which I'll mention because I see she made some changes there. One thing I really like is honeypot math. Love that. Even like 2-3 years ago, when the idea was first brought up to me by my sister's previous boss, uh, I immediately was like, hey, this is not just for math, right? We can leverage this interface and present questions here that are geography questions or other subjects, picture-based questions. There's a whole slew of things that opens up to us once we extract out that question generation part. And so absolutely love this math signifier, which implies there's more, absolutely love that. I might miss some elements. I don't always have the keenest of eyes, and as we recall, Mary doesn't take screenshots of her previous designs. It seems only wireframes. Oh no, well, no, yeah, only wireframes. Yeah. Um, so any changes are probably hidden in Figma history. The other thing Mary changed here are these buttons. The incorrect button was here, and just while in general usage, you don't realize this kind of thing, but actually I can demo it here. So I go next up, right? If I'm a teacher, I'm using my mouse, I click incorrect. Now I have to bring my mouse all the way here to go to the next slide. That's like, this looks visually just absolutely amazing. But the moment you start using it, you start seeing some elements that might not make that much sense. When it's correct, no problem. But definitely when it's incorrect, you gotta, look at that trek I have to make. I can't, like, that's multiple swipes. Also, why is this? The end game button is just hidden. That's an end game button there, which I can click on, and now I have ended the game. Okay. But that was some feedback that was given to Mary, and she says here, hear me out. What if both correct and incorrect buttons are on the right hand, and the facilitator can use keys to advance for Y and N for, that's great. Absolutely, we should implement some keyboard level navigation. Because it also makes things accessible. When you press the question mark button, a lot of websites will pop up a modal with keyboard options that you can use to navigate the site. So I think Yeah, I mean, everything is scope scraper at this point. Oh, it's okay. It's Mary, and she's here. All right, interesting. Now I can't say, now I can't say all those mean things about Mary I said in my previous stream when when I thought she wasn't there. Um, so I think everything's scope creep. So and all of that should be on the table. I mean, obviously, like just as my general principle, like I won't implement it right away, but that's definitely should be on our list of things, and we should be mindful of how we can again enhance and elevate the user interaction as we go. And then what else? I see a note. Okay, so the icon here has changed, right? If I can pop up a game and start and correct. So I just have a check mark here, and here we have the forward, which is great, right? That's what the indication should be. And we have a comment here that says, finish round should tell the facilitator what will happen next and ask them to confirm that action. Yeah, end game finish round should not be this sort of hack, sort of destruction button. There should be confirmations. Absolutely. All right. And then, oh, okay, interesting. I did this. Sorry. I did this long bit in my review of the designs in the stream where I said, hey, I don't know about this purple pinkish feeling. I need more honey. I said I need more honey, and I'm pretty sure Mary's added more purple pink to this gradient, because this one was the one that had more, and now I see there's more here. I love this, right? This is the exact kind of passive aggressive product communication we need. Like now it's like a workplace, oh, that's great. Okay, well, I still have to go back, like I said, and find that there was one moment, it was absolute honey, like my mouth was watering, you know what I'm saying? Like that's what I want. Okay, so there's a comment here. TBD. Yes, absolutely. Okay, so I think I don't see, right from scanning, any other major changes. There might be some slight alterations here and there, but nothing major that stands out. And obviously, if there's anything else, I'll kind of catch it as I go in the implementation part. So having this review done, let's get at it. One of my goal has now become, or it has been, I think when I started this, is to try and code every single line of code on stream as much as is possible. The only thing I've done off stream so far is just commit the code after the session ends, right? Like if I didn't commit all of it on stream, I'll go back and commit it off stream. But all right, you know what? I'm going to start off with this background color, which is a gray light. And I'm not sure whether I have this in my code. So let's just see if this is present somewhere in some format. It isn't. And I don't exactly remember now where I had defined our primary and secondary and neutral colors. So let me see if I can't. There we go. There it is. All right. So we have these colors defined here, and I had used a random tailwind. Oh, I used tints.dev. So I took the primary colors and I generated a range of general tailwindish range of colors. And we don't have this specific gray, and I wonder if it's. Oh, whoa! This has changed. Oh, look at this. I'm just trying to think in my head where these kind of things can be used. And obviously the incorrect and correct is an obvious place where we can use some of these icons, but I wonder where else we can kind of, add some frills. And again, it seems like this icon set still does not have any sad people. No sadness. Just very jolly. Anyway, is this person sad? Maybe we can make her sad. Like flip that smile upside down. That's what I always say. Okay, sorry. Okay, so there was a gray here, and it just seems like I didn't account for that gray, and that gray is a neutral color, and maybe I can now generate that gray range. I know this side breaks every time. Like if I paste here, this is gonna break, right? Oh, they fix it, or I was using a different site. Okay, so 500 will be kind of that range, and this will. But I also had, what else did I have? I had charcoal. So we have a charcoal and we have a neutral, and we'll just say, I'll call it gray. Actually, I don't have to call it neutral. Wait, how did Mary spell the gray? With an E. So there's the answer. My natural spelling of gray is with an A. Let me just see the range here. If like obviously not that. Should it be this? You could barely tell here. So 500 as the default seems fine, but honestly, there's very little difference down here. So what if I said 200? And honestly, I don't even know if we'll use any of these colors. So I'm okay to just say 500 and, well, no, look at what happens actually. Like there's duplication. When I said they all look the same, it's because they were all the same. So probably we can actually just bring this down here, bring it to a point where there's little to no duplication. Even if we don't use these colors, that's fine. And this is just for me kind of getting used to a tailwind scale. It's not official. Like none of these colors may ever be used, and we'll just remove them. Or maybe at some point, Mary can come into this interface and play around. Like I believe you could just kind of move these around as well, so you can get a more precise gradient, let's say, as it were, of colors. But for now, 200 will be our default, and we can just have kind of a brand gray, which I should have just called it a brand gray. Can I do that here? I cannot. That's fine. I'll just modify this. And then here, I will specify that 200 is the main one. That is gray with an E. Again, I can just naturally, so let me say gray, CGN, brand, gray. Oops, no. Yeah. Let me just get all these, and that's just duplication. Okay, so I have these grays in here, and gray 200 will be my brand gray. I wonder if in this config, I don't know if this is how we should be doing it, but here it is. Color is gray, and I don't know if this gets used anywhere. The other thing is, can I do something like this? And I feel like I should be able to, but I don't know if it'll break Tailwind's generation. Like, if I just say brand gray, it should just be that default one, right? If I say charcoal, it should just be this one. So let me actually just place that here, and we can see if this, if this breaks anything. And if it does, we'll revert it. No biggie. And if it doesn't, we'll rejoice and be merry. Okay, so there's that. So I have that gray color. All this just to get that gray color in my background, but here we go. And this background is the entire app's background. And off the top of my head, I don't know where that would go. So there's a U app that that our friends have. U app. Next, okay, yeah, and there's a U app, and I'm wondering if I can just add styles to that. And there wasn't. I'm trying to see where that's defined. No, okay, yeah. I probably shouldn't be searching for U app, just app and the props toaster. Okay, locale, portal, slots, default. So I'm not seeing anything in particular here that indicates any of that. Can I just I had a kind of a, can I just do a div? Like the other thing I need to do is maybe try and see in Nuxt how to add background to body. Let's try on the body in Nuxt. And there's probably some actually, before I actually look at that, just so for my own understanding, there might be a simpler way of doing this, which is to actually look at the body and see if there's any. So all of these seem, so underscore Nuxt seems to be the container of the Nuxt app. So can I style this somewhere in my main CSS perhaps? And then I should, was that an ID? Yep. So down here, I should be able to say something like Nuxt, and then I should be able to say background color. Yeah, this is exactly what I want. Not neutral, but I should be able to say gray, just straight up. Right, and did that do anything? Okay, I see it here. Did this do anything? UI color gray is not defined. Brand. And I don't see a gray in the background, and perhaps this is also not defined. UI. This is, again, I'm just kind of, that's why you should never trust AI, right? And people that are watching this are like, the guy can't read. But sometimes you kind of just lull in and start trusting that the AI is doing the right thing, and you assume. So that worked, right? So I didn't necessarily need to do this. And I will always search for these things. I will sometimes use AI to search for these questions as well. But the moment I get an idea of how to do it, I feel like it's good to test my brain, right? Keep it sharp. I'm like, there should be a way around this. And that worked. And now I haven't defined these colors, but they'll probably come up and I'll define them soon. And then let's see if we can't get, let's first kind of, I have to double click everything. I don't know how to use Figma. I'm not like a Figma expert, but I will copy this as SVG and get this into our app. And we'll just call it honeypot logo. And it's not an SVG, it's just an image. But it seems like our friends here at Figma were kind enough to convert that image into an SVG. And so that's fine. I mean, we can change this later. Like the whole point of using the logo is that, this can become, at some other point or another, this can become an image directly. And so we have Honeypot here, and this font is Merriweather. And so is this, is it? Is it? Yes. So we have Merriweather, Honeypot. So let me go to my main.css, which now I kind of know, and say font. I'm just trying to think in Tailwind how you specify. Well, I guess I don't want it to be the default font. I want it to be the logo font logo for now. And we'll see if that should be something different. Let's see if it knows that I want Merriweather. It does. Fantastic. And while I'm here, let me just see what the rest of the fonts ought to be. Here, what is it? That's not useful. Do I have to ask nicely? It seems like it's referencing something, but Figma didn't want to bring that reference up. Maybe one of these other text bits has it? No. Mary. Oh, that's just the text. And so Figma is not revealing to me what that font is. And again, like I said, I'm not a Figmalite. I wouldn't even know where to go in order to kind of look at that. Let me just try my luck. Hey, Steven, thanks for joining. Let me try my luck with some other text elements, but because these are copy-pasted elements, it seems like Figma, I mean, we could clearly see this is a font, right? There's a font here. It's using some font that was intended to be used, but it's like, not gonna tell you. Or it's referencing, oh, DM Sans, got it. So I have to hover over, and DM Sans is the font. And I don't know what to call it, so I'm just gonna double check and see what all these other ones are. DM Sans or Sans, depending on where you're from. Yeah, it seems like that is actually the default font. And let's just take a look at Tailwind default font setting. I don't know if there's a specific one that it likes. Yeah, it does not seem like it. So what I could probably do is have a default font, right? Maybe the sans can be what I overwrite, and that is what it is. So DM, does it know? Yep, it knows. And we'll go with that. And then let's see. Yeah, I think I'm good to otherwise get that logo in there. And the question is, where am I actually doing that? So am I doing it in app.view? Or just so it's broadly placed across the entire site, or am I doing it inside inside the game views? And something, so one of the problems with me doing it inside the game views, it's not a problem, it's just something I have to undo from what I did the last time, is once I did start getting into the game, yeah, I'm just trying to see, well, so the round, yeah. So I made some of these H screen and W screen. And that will no longer make sense when we start putting other elements in the layout. So I'm okay with adding that to the layout. It just means this has to go away. And maybe maybe I could just put that here. I mean, I could also put it back in the next thing, but I want to just see what this would do first. W screen, and then I can kind of make a decision based off of that. Okay, and then now that I think about it, I think I missed something. I think overflow hidden here makes sense. It's the likely case is this is not going to be the setting for the entire app. It's just going to be setting for the gameplay time. And maybe that's when I need to modify it. But for now, we only have gameplay time. We don't have settings and this and that. So we'll live with this. And that is a time for future Adnan and Mary to worry about. And here I'm seeing things kind of be pretty much fine. So I'm okay with that. And then I can start maybe adding like a div, and I can say class even header, even though I don't have a header class, kind of just signifying that that is what this will do. Let me just say header as a placeholder. And then we can see it appear here, and then we can start to take care of this. And again, maybe this P4 as an overall body thing can live here. And let me actually this time pay attention to the padding. So P10 on the X scale and P10 also on the Y scale. It seems, or this seems like a bit, hold on. No, it's 40 all the way down. So P10, I believe. And let me just double check. Yeah, that's PX40. And then wherever it's not doing that, we'll have to modify it. And already we've seen like this is pushes the entire page down, and it's because it's not overflow, it doesn't work. So those are just, as I build this out, this will be pushed down and we'll have to fix for this. That's fine. All right, then let us get, I can also probably do font sans by default. So that's what everything picks up. And then anything else that is different will need to be specifically fonted. And then here, I want my logo and my name. So let's just create another div inside. I used to have a plugin that would close my elements automatically for me, and I am missing it now. We have the honeypot logo, and yes, I do want to give it a height and a width, and let's just assess quickly here what that should be. And this is not precise. Like you can see, it's 48.56, which is probably what the emoji comes with, but it's not exactly maybe what I want. So 10 will be 40 pixels, and maybe we want, I can actually do this. I don't have to height and width it. I can just do one of those, and in which case I will pick the width, and the width can be, so yeah, width can be 12, and the height should be adjusted accordingly. And that's what it seems like. And now I can get my honeypot math in there as well. And we'll just span these. And font logo. I'm not sure whether we'll use that font elsewhere. Size is 39. I'll just say 2XL, we'll see. And again, that's a conversation I need to have with Mary to say, hey, why is this 39 and maybe not 36, which is kind of on the scale. And maybe there's a very, again, like very specific, precise reason that needs to be the case. This is, I'm trying to click in here. Yeah, same size. I'm not paying too much attention to these elements just yet. And if those need to be modified, we can do them later. Just focusing on where I am right now. And the color of this fella is this 23201E, but I don't know if that's available here or here. Right, so that is a color that's sort of not on the scale. And again, that's another thing that we'll discuss to be like, hey, what and how do we decide the color scale? But let me just see if my Tailwind sort of generated colors don't have something similar on that, either grayscale or charcoal scale. Wait, it is charcoal. How did I miss that? Oh, okay. Sorry. My eyes immediately went here and not here. And because I'm not familiar with, like, I don't have colors in my heart, hex code in my heart, I was like, oh, I missed it. So it is just gray dark. So no discussions will be had. And here we can say text brand charcoal. And hopefully this works right off the bat. And now I have to go in and actually create the other color. And this is, and I wonder if in Figma there's a way to label these. Although when we tried to label these, it wouldn't tell me until I hovered over it. So this one is 218 OCD, which I don't think I am. Oh, I won't have that here. So 218 OCD, probably the opposite of OCD. And now my eyeballs will now look at the right spot. And don't believe we have this color. And I think it's a variation of sky blue. So I'll go ahead and create this range. Not Tina Turner. Did not wanted to go to tins.dev. Sorry, Tina. And I'll go with 500 here, and then we'll 500 is fine, and then I'll might just end up using one of these color ranges, and then we'll modify it once we kind of solidify on a color scheme. So I can call this. I could probably just do, yeah, I could call this sky blue. And look at this in the code. And our default is in fact the 500. And sky blue. Oops, sky blue. Brand sky blue. And I label these brands with brand just in case later on we have to, because Tailwind comes with its default set of colors, and I don't know, just to signify that it's ours. It's our brand. And then I'll just eyeball it for now. And this, again, I'm so bad. So maybe I should just use this as some color in the scale. But where would it fit? I feel like it's darker, a little bit darker. So it'd be on the 700 range. Could be wrong. Probably am wrong. Because look at that. What's that? 2? Is that supposed to be 2? Who knows? But 700 it is. Text brand sky blue 700. Here we go. And that's math. All this work just for this, you know? And then the other things I'm missing here are the weight 900, weight 900, and then I'll still have to go to Tailwind to see where that goes. So it's just font black, which is on the bold scale. So font black for both of these. Font black, and then I'll class flex this. I don't think items should be center, but let's see what happens. And MB4 is fine, actually. That's fine. That's fine as well. Let's just see how much spacing Mary had put in here between this element and this element, and that's 6.5. 6.5. 1.6. So we'll just go with gap 2. And then here, this can actually be a div where it's also kind of flex with a gap of 1. Maybe it doesn't even need to be flex, to be honest. Because I want it to act outside of the flex, but it misses that space. So, I mean, that's fine. And we can space that separately. It doesn't look exactly the same, but I'm not angry about it. And then, right, so I'm not sure how the height of this works and whether that's along the lines of line height, but I'm not going to worry about that too much. What I care about right now is that 32, and I can't do math in my head usually, 32.8. Really, it's MB8 over here just for the spacing. And now we're kind of beginning to look like a product with a logo. The next thing I want to figure out is how, like, what happened down here? What's the story with all of this getting pushed down? Now, one of the issues with that is when I do this, it's naturally going to be pushed down. So let me move this to the side, just so even in this width or whatever width it is, this is what I want, right? I want this. I actually want this to be fixed, and I want this to be variable. That's not what's happening right now. And then we have some odd leeway of stuff just disappearing. So let's find out. Where's that? Let's play. Where's that div? Oops. What I wanted was this. That's this div. That's this div. And they're all in this div. And when I look at that, I'm not seeing anything indicative of that cutoff. Nor here, nor here. I am here because of that hidden business, which means there's some, some way of indicating that this will take the rest of the page. Here is where I will get to my top. And not quite ready yet to eat that banana on stream. And I don't know this stuff off the top of my head, unfortunately, where it's like, so I just have my header here, and I have this fellow, and this fellow's height seems to be fixed, but I wanted to can I do a flex call here? And then do a W full here. So flex call on this parent div and a W call. Oh, sorry. Yeah, flex. Oops. Flex column. Yeah. And then can I do a W full here, indicating, hey, take up the rest of that space. And if that's not how that works, then I'll just have to figure it out. With some examples. Because the height of the entire page is fixed by that W screen business. So if I'm doing, unless it's the elements in here that are specifically pushing it out, right? Because if these things are too large, then that will happen. And it might be the case. Yeah, that might be the case, actually. So without me maybe doing too much upfront there, maybe I could just start here with these pages to see how they feel, and maybe bring this in line with taking up the rest of the space first. And then I can move on there and get that going. I think that makes sense to me because, again, we have to bring everything in line with the general look and feel of the site. So game landing page, we go, and then I have a to-do in my head to actually figure it out. Okay, and let me just get my bearings to see what should be happening. Can I just do a W full, H full here? Will it just, no, that's just me. Oh, of course, because I did a container here, right? So even if these things were full or not full, maybe this is the one that needs to be height and width full. Width full for sure. And the height is going to take based on what's actually being used. So H full is actually useless here. And I want this to expand based on, well, height, H full is actually useless broadly here. So let me actually look at the UCard examples that I have. And I have to get that H full in the body. And I have to make it flex call, and then H full goes in the body. Right, so flex column, and then here the UI setup. And let's see what AI does for me. And here, I think I'm okay with some of these elements. That H, can I actually, yeah. I guess I'll be okay with all of those elements. So that's not what I had expected. I had expected this div inside. Hey, Praveen, thanks for joining the stream today. I'm not sure if this is your first time here, but welcome. And maybe if you have an answer to this question for me, love to see it in the chat, which is I'm trying to use Flex to get this to take up the rest of the space on the page. And my expectation was if I did, maybe here the H full is relevant. No. So this is not what I had expected. Let me just dig in here for a second and take a look. And again, I'm in this territory where I'm like, if it doesn't work, I'm moving on. I'm moving on. And so, yeah, this is very clear. What's happening here is this is my card. This is the parent. So this is my card. I'm sorry, what? Game with landing page. Am I saving the page? Am I refreshing the page? Yeah. Okay. Sorry, I just need to double check everything here. So yeah, H full, and this is W full. And this is the parent of this element here, which is this element. And so I need to look at that in the context of the page, and that H full needs to be outside of it because it needs to be H full up the chain. And I didn't have that in my heart, which is why I'm figuring it out now. So this needs to be H full as well. And now this does exactly what we want, right? So I was missing up the chain because I'm thinking, because the hierarchy isn't quite in my head the way it ought to be for this app. And now we're looking at something cohesive. The inner elements here we can address later. We haven't even gotten into designing those right now. And now I'm on this page, and remember, well, I don't know if I actually get in here. Okay, so I still have this problem over here. But now let me fix up these pages for them to kind of still be taking up the screen fully, even if there's nothing much in them. And just so I get to that view, here's where I am, and just refresh. Great, so let me fix this. And I think now my instinct of like, hey, instead of me having to figure out everything on that initial page I was working on, kind of going back and saying, hey, let me actually get it working step by step across the app. Now that debugging becomes easier, because otherwise I'd probably be debugging somewhere deeper in the code when the answer was on the outskirts. And that probably would have ended up taking me longer than whatever this took me. Great. So now I am on the round page with the start round button, and I want this and all of this to take up the full space on the screen all the time, regardless of what's happening. Okay, and let me just catch where I am. Okay. So I've got my start round button. Right, and again, I do have to sort of catch myself to see where we are. So there's two screens here. I've split my screen. This is the outlet, sort of the layout head, let's just say, the top of the layout, where that next page is. So everything that we see in here, in this template, is actually taking the space over here. And then the round one and all that business is over here. So now I know that when I go up the chain of making sure everything is H full, it needs to be, I think, everywhere here. And if it's not, that's fine. But this was the indication that I got from my previous changes. So that's where I'll go first. So this worked. And while I'm happy with that, it seems like because these are flex, this is H full because this is H full. And I want both of them to be H full regardless of what's in each other. So I'm gonna, now that I know this is the round page and I need to come back here, I'm gonna make this not work, make this work, and then come back and fix that. Because otherwise it works by luck, not by intent. Okay. Right, I'm on this page and let me go up the chain here. So I have my U card. My U card, is that it? Do I just need to say H full here and we'll call it a night? No. Let's see. Oops. I'm used to this being on the bottom, which is why I'm toggling it, even though it's still on the page. Okay, so this is my flex. This should be H full. This also worked by luck, ish. So this is where that round one business is, and this is the parent. So this fella, but this is why it did work. Okay, so now I at least, so I should have gotten rid of this to see if that was, and that is correct. So these are working because it's flex and because the parent is there. I just wanted to make sure that one was not pushing the other, and it does not seem like that is the case. And so now, beautiful. Now it's kind of looking real. And here I have to accommodate for why this is being pushed down. My first instinct is to reduce whatever is here, but maybe I can actually just go up the chain here to see if there's anything that stands out. So I have my flex call. I have my header here, and I don't love the padding, and like this is the element I feel like that should have the margin on the bottom, not the element inside. But right now, this is the element that has the margin on the bottom. It feels a little weird. So, but again, not the problem I'm solving, but at least I'm realizing it as I go. And this is flex call with H screen. So that height ought to be fixed. But I don't know whether the overflow hidden is the right thing to do, or whether there's another option that allows things to kind of just flex their way in. But because it is flexed, my expectation is that it just works. My expectation is that I don't actually have to do whatever it is that I'm trying to do now. So let's see. Okay. Then I have this element, which contains everything. Then I have this, and I have this. What if I just remove this? So if I remove that, everything fits on the screen, which means that it's related to whatever element I just removed. And I'll just use that technique to see whether my assumptions were correct. And that's the direction I seem to be going, because my indication was, hey, this is probably too big. So it's where this question lies. And let me try and go to that area of the page and work my way down to see, I had a fixed height. What if I do H full here, knowing that, wait, what element is this also? That's unhelpful. Okay, so what element is this? This is the question. This is the question container. Actually, first, what happens when I just get rid of it, right? Like, what am I looking at? And the H full was allowing this to be centered, it seems. But let me play it out to see what it looks like. So all of this stuff is pushing it out, and maybe these are different elements as well. So no, they're not. So everything is in here, but maybe there's fixed heights for a number of these elements that are causing these to be pushed. And should they be more relative to whatever the screen size is? And this is not at all like my expertise. I make it work by fumbling my way around. So I'm on the correct screen. I'm looking at the correct code here. I'm trying to see whether there's any indication here that if I just get rid of everything, fits perfectly. Let's bring everything back. And my assumption is that our image here, our heart flower person, is what's causing us grief. And that is correct. And I wonder whether there's a way to address that. And I think here, instead of, I'm trying to see what happens when I do things like this and this. Yeah, I'm not going to spend see, like here, everything just works. And at this sort of default height, it doesn't. And so maybe, let me go into heart flower person and remove this fixed width and height. And that doesn't work right off the bat, but what I can probably do is give it a height and width here. I don't know what 32 will do, which makes it pretty small, but I wonder what happens when I do this. Yeah, it still just overshadows everything. So that's fine. 32 is small. 64 is what? Too big. 48 is, are we Goldilocks? We're in Goldilocks territory here, but I'm not sure what happens on larger screens or smaller screens. A lot of this inner stuff will change based on the types of questions we display. So I'm not sure how to address that yet, but I'm at least happy everything is fitting in the screen. Let's take a look at that incorrect screen. Everything fits, and I feel like I've done that first little bit. I also don't mind this being at the top instead of the center and everything else showing up here, because ultimately the timer business will go here. And then again, this space will be taken up by different types of questions. And so that'll come later. So I don't necessarily want to spend too much time on that right now. That is looking good. This is actually a good time for me to commit what I have. And, you know, a lot of times in most apps, not in most apps, but sometimes this is kind of the first thing that you do is you work on your layout. And it's, you know, I'm doing it like days in or weeks in, because look at how much progress we've made otherwise. Like the layout's not actually the most important thing when you start. It's getting a sense of what you're building is the most important thing. Changes to the layout. Okay, let's see what I'll look at next. I could probably go down the chain here and start looking at the little details, the fonts, the weight of the fonts. I skipped the settings button because I feel like they'll come later. I already have an idea of like one case where the setting buttons will be relevant, and I like that it's there. And I think in the stream where Mary put it there, or was talking about it, she was like, oh, I don't know what might go here, but probably settings. One case is, if the teacher incorrectly presses N instead of Y, the students are gonna, lose it. They'll start eating the chalk. And so, or smelling the markers, whatever students do these days. And it'll be important to go back, but you don't necessarily want a back being embedded into the interface because it's such a rare case, which is perfect for the settings button. It's kind of always there. There might be other adjustable settings that we have. And then you can also go back, right? I made a mistake. There's a settings and there's a I made a mistake button, and then you're able to adjust. Another thing I really like is we might actually, this is magic dust future, sparkly future things, is we might theme this. So like, what if we want to use this game, but we're doing it with, 50-year-olds. I'm sorry, this is not to suggest that 50-year-olds will not like this. I'm going to be 50 soon enough, and this is great. I'm enjoying this. So, but just to say that it's more the theme that's more appropriate to its context, and perhaps as a way to adjust that to say, hey, let's get more of a look and feel of this environment, and let's get a more of a look and feel of that environment, and it becomes a more broader thing. But right now we have exactly 0 users, so your features should expand with your user base, not with just your inner desires. Okay, so let's get this going. And here I can just hover over. So font I have, the weight is 600 for that fellow, and 24, 32. I wonder what the default line heights and settings are here. So here conveniently, I'm always in round one forever. And here I can just span it up to style this. And then maybe this becomes a component that's some kind of a header, right? Because if we're using this over and over, I will copy paste it initially into a bunch of different places. I don't care. And then later on, it might become more of a thing. So the font weight is 600, is semi-bold. And there are ways to get this theming into Figma as well. So it reads this instead of this specific thing. And then I just go, this is it. And again, those are just some alignments to be made. Is this it? Does AI know? This is font 18. I'm looking for 24, so that would be 2XL. And it has kind of the line height or whatever calculated. So I'm going to leave it at that. And I'd rather just go by the default to start. And the casing is uppercase. And I never remember if, generally I haven't spent a lot of time in the UI lately. And when I'm contextualized to the UI, I'll have these in my heart, and they're just currently not. Decoration, no. Just underline. No, so what am I looking for? Uppercase, not underline. I don't know why I thought I was looking for. I could just search for it, but this is way more fun. There you go, uppercase. One of the reasons I'm actually not searching for it on purpose is because sometimes it's good to discover things and not just get the answer right away. And that's because, one, I'm kind of, on the sidelines, slowly building an index. This is Tailwind version 4. And this is the first time I'm using version 4. A number of things have changed. There's been new additions. The Tailwind in my heart is probably Tailwind version 2. Right? So I'm 2 versions off. I don't know what's changed, what hasn't changed. And so doing that, clicking around and taking that time, even though it's wasting time, quote unquote, now I'm not even memorizing these. I'm just kind of getting a sense of what may exist so that the next time I'm like, oh, I need something like this, it will be available to me faster. I could also search for it then, you might argue, but I don't like it. I don't want it. I think one of the things here is this, and I didn't account for it, is this screen size here is a very particular screen size and ratio. It's 1920 by 180, which is the full screen. Like, so it's actually my full screen. So if I had done something like this, which is useless because this doesn't disappear. But I mean, there are ways to make this full screen, and that is sort of the representation of what the entire size is. So when we're not using the full screen, things probably aren't exactly the way they ought to be. And so I'm not going to put in too much into the scale of the site. I'm just going to focus on just getting some of those fonts in there. I'll adjust things as I see fit, and then we'll take it from there. I know that's the second time I've divided 32 by 4. I'm going to keep doing it all the time. I don't care. Okay. I think the other thing I need to do on this side is start styling some of this stuff, which I want to do. And maybe I'll do that. Next, let me get these bits first, almost kind of going down this way and saying, hey, what do I got? So here, here, here. And so especially as the eye goes downwards, it starts looking like what Mary has built. And so all of these actually take a similar style. So perhaps I can just div it up, and all of this stuff can go here, and I'll just class it. And again, none of this is in my heart in any form of precision. So I'll just have to make it work. So that inline is kind of just adjusting how that behaves. Maybe I could have just made this a span as well, but either way, it's not that big a deal at this stage. So text XL is this. Should this text actually be 32? XL is 20. 2XL is 24. So 4XL, 36. 3XL is 30. So I'm just going to go to what I can find. And this does not look right. It doesn't feel right. So maybe, did I read incorrectly? Yeah. Look, it's because, again, I haven't been using. I'm an idiot. That's why. Let's be honest. So here, this is actually, so Mary is using some kind of, so this font weight says semi-bold, but it'd be nice if I could get the full thing. Great. And now this, it's a bit weird that it's using this kind of thing, but this will work. I apologize. I'm just a loser. Because my eyeball immediately went here. I thought that's the size, isn't it? So font family is fine. That's just the default. This is going to be, and this will become much easier now, right? Like one, AI knows what's in my heart, and B, everything is much clearer here. I'm not going to modify the line height because it's based off of this, and we'll keep it just like that. That still seems quite large. I'm just changing. So that's my 100%, and that seems really big. And maybe because I haven't modified the name to accommodate, or it's a scaling of the page, but that does not feel right in my heart. So this says 2XL, and let me just hover over to see whether that's a specific, which is 24, but it doesn't seem right. I'm just going to eyeball it, and then later on, this seems right. This seems righter. And then I know I need to modify that name as well. And that's also 2XL. So for me, I'm just gonna make all of that just Excel. And I wonder if there's any other adjustments here. Semi-bold as well. Happy to do that. Okay, yeah, and obviously it's looking a lot better when everything is sort of adjusted and aligned. I will come to this later when I'm doing all of these. This will be adjusted, and now let's fix that turn because it is definitely looking like it is out of place. And for this case, I'm just going to copy this style and bring it here. And see that turn come in. I'm not sure every time I change it, why it isn't like hot module replacement updating. It seems like there's more flashing happening. So why is it seems like it's loading the data, which is not my expectation of Nuxt. But okay. So we got this. Turn 5. Note I haven't accounted for like the amount of spacing that these are taking. So maybe I could take a quick look. I think I did the last time, but maybe I take a quick look. The height is 65, and I remember, I remember doing that and going 65 by 4. And then I think I might have set the UI cards settings to 16. So that's where we'll just leave that there. There is some, okay. The card has a shadow, and let me find that. I feel like that is actually pretty important. There's some shadow setting here. Shadows drops shadow. My sense is that Mary is probably using a Nuxt UIs. Elements, I'm not 100% sure, but let's just see. Whether, maybe they have added certain elements. It doesn't seem like there's a shadowy thing here. I thought maybe, because these are named like in the same way that these are named, and I kind of figured out, that's what that is. And the calc stuff, it does seem like it's coming from some kind of system, which I don't know if I have access to, and I definitely don't know if and then, but I guess does this card already have a shadow? Also, because that alignment is now fixed, this over here, is because the contents of this, I think, were pushing things out and about. And once I fix everything is kind of aligned automatically, which is nice. Okay, sorry. Let's get back here. Where was I? I was saying, hey, there's a shadow here. And so maybe there's an option in the card to have a shadow. Maybe it's a property of the card itself. And if it's not, then that's fine. We'll just add a tailwind shadow. Is it a drop shadow? It is a drop shadow. And so there's some drop shadow sizing here. The one we have here seems like it's just drop shadow, period, which might be either medium, which might either be medium or small, I'm thinking. So 1, 2 is small. 1, 2 is small, and that'll be my reference frame. I thought maybe that would define it, but I guess not. When I copy this to the clipboard, what am I copying? Ugh, now this is here. You can see all my apps. 1, 2, 1, 3. This is actually not helpful for me at all. 1, 2, 1, 3. And what does our friend Tailwind say? 1, 2, 1, 1. So it doesn't seem like it's default Tailwind. I am still going to go with the default Tailwind, and then we can go back and modify those defaults in our main screen, right? So if I just use something like shadow SM, then we can decide, hey, shadow SM means this now. And then we redefine shadow SM in the configuration instead. So let me just eyeball shadow SM and eyeball shadow MD and see which one fits better. And maybe that actually needs to be just part of card itself, right? But for now, I'm just happy to pop it in here for these specific cards. I do see a shadow here. So, yep. And I want that same shadowness here. Drop shadow, not large. Let's go with SM. Just to double check, I did go with SM here. And then let me also try drop shadow XS. That looks too little. And then MD, which would probably be too much. I mean, it's not terrible, but SM seems fine. SM seems like it's... SM also seems like it's too much to me, and this is more subtle. It's probably because the colors that are used here are a bit different. So, and I like the subtle more. And there's a border and a border color E2EF0. And let me just see if that's available here. I referenced this earlier and I've already forgotten what the color scheme is. So E2 something, something, something. What I can probably do is just do border on my grayscale somewhere, on my brand grayscale somewhere, and see if there isn't some kind of a fit, right? And if I did need to see exactly what it is, it's over here. I don't know if that will change the border's essence or whether that should be part of the drop shadow itself. And whether I can modify it with, oh, I can do drop shadow of one of the color schemes that I have. Oh, drop shadow. In earnest, it's kind of hard for me to tell. Looking here, it's kind of hard for me to tell what's happening. Did the drop shadow not shadow? This is the thing. So when I go here, it is definitely a thing. So let me see if I can't kind of just go up the scale and see if there's any. Yeah, it's a thing. Did you see it? I see it. All right. I don't know why I'm yelling. But it's still not quite as subtle. And is that because the border also needs to be the same color? Now it seems less of a shadow to me, but I'm actually okay with this for now. And I don't think I need to necessarily spend too much time on that shadowing. The whole goal to me of the shadow is to get a certain feel, which I feel like we're getting a little bit more than we were getting before. Although it's not the exact, I eventually want to get it to the exact field, but I also want to move on a little bit. But I guess I'll give it one more second, actually. Because when I copied this, it gave me some CSS. var UI border, solid. I mean, one of my grays is this, right? Like, can you hear me burp on stream? Yeah, I mean, if I had any familiarity with, like, if I was like a hex color god, I could tell you. And generally, there's a plugin that allows you to see the colors as it sees it in the CSS files. I don't have that, and maybe I can think about adding that kind of thing. But what if I did use this or this as the border color, just to see what it would feel like? Charcoal 100. Let's go. And this is our, this is going to be, yeah, it's still not as light, right? And what if I did brand charcoal 100 here? It's still not as light. Although it definitely, oh no, I was going to say definitely it seems lighter, but now definitely it's gone. Was that because in the zoom it's just, it doesn't care? Did I upset it? I think that's enough. And I will figure this out later. Oh, no. Just want to make sure, because I saved something incorrectly and I wanted to make sure that was fixed. I'm okay with setting this to the charcoal 100 range, and then we'll see. I know when I do like this, we're getting like all these. That's because they're in somewhere in my tmux range. And really, I should not have these many options here. So something for me to do is in my autocomplete, I need to limit the number of options that I have. Okay, so I'm like, I guess I'm not 100% okay with it, but I'm okay to move on. All right, so we have this. We got the outline here done. I feel like I'm doing okay for time. And now I feel like this is a great time for me to come in here and focus on this area. And zone in on the spacing here, the type of elements that we're using here, which will then carry on somewhere here as well. Now, there is one difference here. It's bold, semi-bold, and a certain size, and here it's a different size. And I think I had sized it all the same in my component. So now I need to modify that so it takes those values from, like I can pass those values into the components class and not have it be the same everywhere. But we'll see it happen, right? It's here, and here should be more aligned with the rest of this, and here should be a little bit plainer. And then we need to do more adjustments based on who the current person is and who isn't, and we'll get to that at a later stage. Right now, I'll just make it all normalized first. The other thing you'll notice is I have used full names because that was my assumption, is that, if there's two Claudias in a class, you gotta know it's Claudine K, and then it's Claudine S. So I dumped in the full names. I don't know what teachers will naturally do. Okay. So let's go into that player avatar, and I said text Excel, and so on, and then I put all of that in a strong. So my first instinct is to just take it out of here and dump it in here, and then take it out of here and put that as part of the thing itself. So everything, I just want to make sure that everything looks fine here, and it does. And then here is answering uses specific player avatar instance, and we'll just go ahead and add that class here. So, oops. And get that in here. So now this style is here, and already we can see the size here come down, and this side be used. And then now we'll kind of focus on this and this aspect. Well, I'll first do the styling of the text here, and then we'll focus on this in the component. Okay, so let's get familiar with this. Text large. I think I had made this large, so this has to be, or did I make this Excel? Sorry, I just moved it over. It's Excel, so that can be large. And that usage is in here. Text large, no problem. Whoops, yeah, there you go. Is it large? And then font weight is normal. And that means I don't need to have a strong inside the player avatar, actually. So that's not necessary. This can actually just be a span or a div. In this case, I will div it up. We'll see what that looks like. It probably should be a span, maybe, because this is happening, right? So it should be, maybe it can be a inline fellow, and we'll just deal with it. And now this is looking a little bit more sort of regular. I feel like it's still too big, even with, but let's just see, size LG, LG, fonts, size, what's text base? I'm going to try base. I'm going to try SM as well, actually, just based on fields. Base looks like this. That looks a little bit nicer. And SM is probably too small. It's fine, but this is probably better. So base it is, and now we can get focusing on this area and aspect and get some of that spacing done a little bit better. I'm not familiar with how I'm not familiar with how the icons will work. They have their own size, the U avatars. And so I'm going to have to depend on what Nux UI is giving me. Okay, and the avatar group does something like this. I want avatar. And look at the sizes here. I don't know what it's following here. Like, no clue. And because it's taking the icon straight up from here, so is MD the right size? So I could just actually just take a look at it in here, and specifically just take a look at what the size is there. So that's 16, and Mary has something more along the lines of 24. So it's a bit larger, and I am using MD here, so I need to pull up to LG or XL. Okay. I'm actually going to try XL. I feel the more apparent the icon, the better. And then once we get rid of the circle, then it might look nicer. So that's the source, icon, text, alt. I'm trying to see whether there's some background change I can make here, like a BG none or something. Maybe I can do it as part of a class. If this doesn't work, then I have to dig in and kind of just see what's part of the, I got to mess about with this here. So let me just see what they have in terms of BG. That's the only thing. And what is BG elevated? Is that a default? I don't think it's high blood sugar. It is elevated. It's blood glucose elevated. Sorry. It is. It doesn't seem like it's coming from here either. So it's probably part of, it might be part of UI BG elevated. Because it starts with UI, it's part of the color scheme for Next UI. So that is correct. Now, UI avatar root. So I got root here. I got image here. So I should just be able to say root and give it a class name. What happens if I give, let's actually just play around with this so I understand what's happening. Let's go UI equals something. And here I'll give it root. And what happens if I just give it an empty class name? Is it happy? Is it sad? Does everything disappear? No. What if now I say BG none, which is just one class? How does it decide what to do? Will it do anything at all? No. And let's just get in here and assess that. And again, these are the trials and tribulations of using a UI library and not building it on your own from scratch. Because if I had it from scratch, I would only put in the elements that I wanted. But if I built it from scratch, then I would spend all that time building it from scratch. So my BG none is here, but it doesn't take precedence probably over that. So let's force it. So it's not coming from here, it's coming from here. And I'll double check that is the case. And then I will give it importance, and it doesn't care. Next UI doesn't care what I want. So yeah, I do have BG none there, and it is in fact, let's just make sure. I guess I could just change the elevated styling. So I'm trying to find how I can pull this up, but there's no, I'm just relegated to this forever. So I'll just use this, which is much nicer. And let's just make sure that BG none is, and none is important. BG none is background image, whereas this is background color. And so background color. transparent. And I just want to see if there's any other, like if there's a none and it's hiding in there somewhere, right? So no. So it's just me not knowing what to do. So BG transparent. And we'll just leave that way. And then what did I just do? Yeah. And then now that's looking like what we want. What happens? Do I have to make this, like, would it resolve this but on its own? Seems like it has resolved it. And then what does this look like? It seems like their BG suggestion is gone and transparent is the only one that's taken over. And this probably tells me, because I was a bit hesitant to try this level out. You'll see that in some of this like UI card elements, I've copied everything in order to add only certain things. And maybe I don't need to do that. But at that time, I was not at all in the mood for experimenting. I just wanted to, because I spent a lot of time just messing about. Okay, so I have this block here. This here is 16 pixels. So here the padding of this should be PY4, but it looked too much. That's too much. Sorry, that's not that. It's this. And that is too much. It's also too much, isn't it? There's probably padding that's coming from other elements as well, which we should probably address. So let me get a sense of where exactly these paddings are coming from, and then I can adjust. Oh, it's coming from the entire body of the whole thing, which is just what I was talking about up here. That makes sense. So because of that, I definitely don't want any PX here. And then what I do want is a PY, which is basically nothing because each element here is kind of taking its own space. So let me just get rid of what's in here and just take a look to see what the look and feel becomes. And that's looking better. But even this, for example, like look, like even here, this feels closer than this is for certain. No doubt in my mind. And now you can also see that the names are completely in here. So, oh, because that's because I got a PX6, not a 4. So let me adjust that. And let's see if this feels better. It does. What does a P2 look like here? To be honest, like that doesn't look that bad as long as I get the coloring here correct or the weight there correct. That doesn't look too bad to me. Maybe it could be a bit more, but also I'll leave it pretty tight and then we'll let Mary's sense kind of guide me later. And let me now get that weight on there, at least for weight is normal. So I thought I put a for normal there, didn't I? That weight doesn't look right. For normal exists. It is a weight. It is 400. But when I look at this, does that feel like this? It doesn't, right? Like this looks like none of them are playing. So let me try one level over that and see what that feels like. And I wonder why that's the case. Like, is it just my eyes? Is it just my eyeballs? What is it? Okay, no worries. Yeah, what's next? Wait. Medium is next up, and then semi-bold. We don't want semi-bold, but if medium doesn't make sense here, I'm going to leave it as normal and just chalk it up to my feelings. Looks a bit better, I think. Something's off, though. Something is not right. Like, it doesn't look like this. It's the color. I think it's the color. And here, I was like, hey, let's use standards or whatever. No, but I'm like, what if I just copy it in there, and what happens? And now I think if I go back and give this a normal, things will look, I should have known it was the color. And that definitely looks better. Okay, all right. We haven't gone to the case where, people are crossed off or we have that current situation going, but I would probably get to that later. Right now, maybe I'll do this. I'll move the buttons and get a feel for the gameplay. And then I'll decide if I want to do more or whether I wrap up today's session. And then I'll decide what to do with this later as well. Oh, wait. 314. Is that somewhere? Is it in the code already? No, it's not. Okay, I'm just going to breathe for half a second and then get to these incorrect buttons. I guess I lied when I said I was going to breathe for a second. Or half a second. Okay, so there's justify between. I don't want justify between. Is there a justify end, I believe? And in a flex, that ought to move the buttons to the end. Is it as simple as that? Now, there's something bothering me about these buttons. It doesn't seem like this is centered quite right. Like that looks all nice and centered. Why? So I need to get in close here. Yeah, that's not centered. Am I doing something special in this button? MD error solid, straight up. No specialness. I do have in my app config some button stuff happening, but nothing about spacing, right? So why out of the box does that look like it's not aligned with the icon? Let's take a look, and it's not letting me take a look because it hates me. I think I can make this larger. So you're not in the dark, whomever you are out there. And here I can just take a look to see. This is using inline flex item center, which should do the job. We don't need any more than that, really. So there's something happening inside here that's very nonsensical. So this is our icon. It has a size. Size 5 is equal height and width. And that's probably changed in the Tailwind versions that I was used to. And then incorrect is here without any guidance. So what happens if I give it a span and just a span and nothing else? Will this start to look like what I want? Oops. Let's see. Yes. I'm pausing here because I find that weird. Like, I don't think I should have to do that, right? I say button, here you go, here's some text, display it centered, which they do as well. And then they should probably have an icon variation or version here. And it seems like they haven't done that either. And their button looks centered. So why did I have to go through that exercise? But okay, here we are. No worries. Or some worries, I guess. I'll just keep that in mind. We won't do the keyboard business, but let's actually get a sense of the gameplay. If I press incorrect here, I am right where I need to be for my next action. And then if I'm correct, I'm right where I need to be for my next action. And we'll discuss this with Mary, is like maybe there's some room for transitions here. Like if I click, that's a bit abrupt in terms of what's happening. So definitely there's some room for animation or transitions as we go. I won't do those now, but what I will do is this next up button has this icon, and this icon is arrow right, classic arrow right, which I believe is available to me. And let's take a look at the button here. This is good. Icon by default shows up here. Look, it's right here. Everything is here for me. Trailing icon is what I need to use. I can just copy the whole thing, and maybe Noto has a different look to it. So I can go here and get that in here as a start. See what it feels like. It feels good. But let's just try this different icon set to see whether they even have that. They don't. So I'm not going to bother too much with getting adjusted there. It's good enough for me if it's good enough for you. And since you're not on speaking terms with me, it's good enough for me. I'm in an odd spot here. I feel like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. See what's happened? Like, why is this come up here? And why are my buttons gone? Okay, so that button there, that next round button, is colored a bit weirdly, so I will need to adjust it. I do need to bring in the list of people here, which at this stage is just every active person on the round page. And then on the turn page, they become turn-based. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I'm going to just mark all these correct. 2 is Wendell. 3 is Claudine. 4 is Katrina. 5 is Devin. Oh, okay, I see. It's because there was no next player. And when there's no next player, we just don't show anything. So this comes up here. So it's not incorrect per se. Oh, no, it is. It is incorrect per se because it's not incorrect per se. Let me just hold on to that thought. And let me try and is answering. So this is where it's happening. I say if next player. But really, maybe I should still have some kind of a div here. And really, it should be template if next player, because this div allows that justify between to push those elements out. So I do want the template here, although the AI has gone overboard. And then I don't want this here. So this can just be a lonely div. And now I would expect this to happen. This goes here, this goes here. I think there's a case at the end of the screens where this is showing up incorrectly. Or maybe there's some, because there's no next player. And right at the end, I got overconfident. Like, I'm sure this is the problem. And I went too fast. So Yeah, definitely there's a problem here on multiple occasions. This shouldn't be there. And this is just something from previous. There is a button there. You can't see it. It says finish round. And I need to color that properly because it's a ghost button. What if I use an outline button? I might just end up using a solid button there. I will use a solid button here. Oops. And later on, I will adjust this. Right now, there's no next player, but there should be a current player. So what am I doing wrong? I'm doing this business of like next player, current player, whatever, and I've mixed it up, right? Because this should actually be current player, not next player at all. And now that makes sense because this logic just happened to work for all these rounds and doesn't work for this round because I used the wrong if statement. By the way, they don't have an icon because none was generated, so that's not a bug. And then this correct screen, yeah, now we fix it. And we fixed the case, like even though I was like, let's do this template business, I probably didn't need to do that. But ever in the case that happens, turn will now always be in its place. Know your place turn. Finish round takes me to the next round without any warning. And maybe right now I can just fix this, which is show all active players on the round page. Yeah. I was like, should I commit? I probably should, but that's fine. So there is a case where, so we're grabbing the turns and displaying it, but there is a case where there are no turns and the game has active players. So let me just account for that. If, let's not say if, let's go equals 0, 0, 0. This is super close. We want to get the value from games, but we want to filter by active player and map that. And then, we could have just filtered by active here, but that would, I feel like, also be incorrect. This may introduce a bug later on as well. But for now, I'm happy to discover that bug later and not worry about it, and we have this. And now when I create a new game, we don't start sort of bare. We start here. Another thing we could probably do later is when we do start a new game and you enter a list of players, when you submit, maybe this can also use that round thing, and then maybe we generate the players at that stage, maybe, or maybe at least we generate their icons and we generate their adjectives. But at the very least for now, that's happening here. And now we have sort of this more fluid experience, at least once the round starts. You know who's going up. You know you can start. You know you can go incorrect, correct. And sorry, I do need to fix this. Next up. I don't know why I said sorry. And to whom? I'm the boss here, okay? You apologize to me. I don't apologize to you. Yeah, I'm proud of myself for saying all that. Okay, so that looks better because I have two of those. I might need to refactor that later, but I'm happy with the copy paste business. Whoa, rude. I did earlier ask AI to generate children-friendly adjectives, one for each letter. Let me commit what I have here. It's a bunch of just styling and logic adjustments there, and here as well. I'm also like sometimes I'll move pretty fast through that stuff, but I'm also looking to see if I left any like logging statements that shouldn't be there and stuff like that. So styling the player avatar, showing players at start of round. Okay, maybe I'll just take 10 minutes or so to implement the. No, I think I'll yeah, maybe I will take the 10 minutes to quickly implement the alliterative adjectives and implement that. I will off screen find where I had gotten those adjectives. Let's see if I can't copy paste them into a file somewhere. I have copied them, and this will go on the server side because that's where the adjectives are being generated. So somewhere around create game, not here. So somewhere around create game on the server. Well, I could just go here and get into the server side. Create game with players, and then so Faker is generating the adjective, and so let me refactor that out of there and just say something like function generate adjective, and that's exactly what I want as a first step. And I guess my ESLint doesn't complain that this is defined after it's being called in the code, so that's fine. And then let's just make sure that everything still works even with that change. Here's where my AI helper was. And I'll start a new game. Whoops. I will start a new game, submit and start, and I am getting these. So now what I want is to maybe just make it a module, right? So I believe did I add utils somewhere? And these utils are broad. I feel like I should have server utils as well. I could also have it outside. It doesn't, the code theoretically can be shared with front end and back end both. And there's no specific or particular reason I can't just put it here. So adjectives.ts, and just open that up in a window, paste my adjectives by letter thing. It's got a bunch here, but I mean, I'm okay with whatever it has, and then I can. So I got that, and I can say, okay, it's giving me a function. Let's see. So based on the letter, I actually want name here. So whomever is passing this in doesn't have to worry about giving me a letter. So const letter is equal to that uppercase, perfect. Upper letter, adjectives by letter, doesn't like it. because it seems like it wants this to be, can I tell it that? And then I know there's other ways to do this, fine, but for now. Yeah, unknown, I like that, because then that'll just be what we use. And then we'll randomize it. It does mean that some of these might be duplicated, but that's fine. And then with generate adjective, we'll just go back out here. We should have the player name at this point. So we will be get adjective, player.name. And then is this good enough to find it? It is. And hopefully this doesn't cause any issues, because I feel like that this code should be able to be shared back end and front end. We can get rid of that. And let's see if we don't get marvelous Michaela, judicious Janie, logical Leonore. Yeah, I mean, we got it. And some of these will repeat, but okay, fine. I know I'm not accommodating for when there is overflow, and maybe we'll take a look at that later. I'm actually happy with adding this bit of functionality in. And then I think next time I can begin to take a look at some other elements, which is in the progression of the game, highlighting who is current and who has been eliminated, right? So there's, seems like this is not an icon, like this is not their personal icon. It's the skull and bones because they have been eliminated. And so we'll do that. And then we'll do this highlight here for the current player. Get some of these elements in there. And then we might look at actually having this kind of styling for this finish button. So some other things, I kind of went top to bottom, and I guess I got this far. And we'll do some of this business next time randomly. Thank you for joining me on this episode, this session of Product Like It's Friday, even though it's Tuesday. And I will come back at a random time in the future. I have been doing every day for the last week and a half or so. So most likely tomorrow, but if not, some random time in the future, and definitely, hopefully on Friday. So thanks for joining me, and I'll see you, like I said, in the future. Good night.